Why is China heading toward population collapse? The answer is simple. 35 years of policy and the number 1.0. China has surrendered its position as the world's most populous nation to India, with population declining for 2 consecutive years. In 2023 alone, a staggering 2.08 million people were lost. This isn't a story about the future. This is the reality that's already begun. Why is this so critical? This slide explains everything. The one-child policy, enforced from 1980 to 2015 to 35 years. According to Chinese government estimates, this policy prevented roughly 400 million births. The birth patterns of entire generations were transformed. The current fertility rate hovers around 1.0 according to official statistics. But some research suggests it may be as low as 0.8. This is among the world's lowest, far below the replacement level of 2.1. UN medium variant projections show the population declining by over 100 million by 2050, from roughly 1.4 billion to about 1.27 billion. Some projections even suggest the population could halve by the end of this century. This is what 4 decades of demographic research consistently reveals. This isn't speculation. Multiple major projections indicate China's population decline and accelerating aging, and this is comprehensible. Look at the numbers. Trace the policy history. Now you can understand China's population collapse. Today, let me show you the data. The first casualty of population collapse is the labor force. China's working-age population peaked in the early 2010s. It has entered a phase of decline since then. Heading toward 2050, a substantial decrease is expected. Declining labor input will drag down long-term economic growth rates. The IMF and World Bank point to this as a medium to long-term growth deceleration risk. If productivity gains can't keep pace, the high-growth model of the past 40 years can no longer be sustained. When the labor force vanishes, economic growth vanishes too. And the pension system collapses. Looking at the ratio of working-age population to those 65 and over, China faces significant deterioration ahead. Increased burdens on pensions and healthcare are unavoidable. In fact, the government decided to raise the retirement age in 2024. For men, from 60 to 63. For women, from 50 or 55 to 55 or 58, phased in gradually over 15 years. This is an agonizing decision, but it's merely a temporary stopgap. Discontent among the younger generation is rising. Benefit cuts, increased burdens, and retirement age extensions. Each painful reform threatens social stability. The Chinese government faces an equation with no easy solution. Why isn't the fertility rate recovering? 3 structural constraints are locking the fertility rate around 1.0. First, the policy legacy. The one-child policy lasted 35 years. Policy shifted to 2 children in 2015, then to 3 children in 2021. Yet the fertility rate never recovered. Low fertility has become embedded in the culture. Second, the paradox of economic development. The urbanization rate has reached the mid-60% range. Education-related expenses, including tutoring, are squeezing household budgets. The burden is particularly acute in urban areas. In some major cities, the price-to-income ratio for housing has reached extremely high levels. This creates headwinds for marriage and childbearing among the young. Third, cultural shifts. Higher education enrollment and completion have expanded, with rising female participation. Career-oriented values are spreading. Later marriage and non-marriage are accelerating. These 3 constraints compound to depress the fertility rate. No matter how much the government encourages births, the structure won't change. China's population collapse is reshaping the entire global economy. China holds one of the largest shares of global manufacturing. It dominates in electronics, textiles, and home appliances. But as the labor force shrinks, long-term wage increases will impact price competitiveness. Price competitiveness will decline. Multinational corporations have already begun to move. Vietnam, population 100 million, median age 32. India, population 1.4 billion, median age 28. Mexico, adjacent to the United States, able to leverage USMCA. According to McKinsey and others, supply chain restructuring on the scale of trillions of dollars is projected. China is moving away from the center of this shift. While China remains a global manufacturing hub, population, costs, and geopolitics are driving production diversification, weakening the relative concentration in one location. So what does this all mean? The beginning of the end for a superpower. When population declines, economic growth is constrained. Labor force reduction will suppress growth rates over the long term. GDP projections heading toward 2050 may be revised downward. If economic expansion slows, military spending will also face constraints. The room for real increases in defense budgets will be limited. Population decline could become a long-term constraint. That said, actual military balance also depends on technology, industrial base, alliances, and operational environment. But the structure where demographics constrain geopolitical ambitions remains unchanged. This is the reality confronting China's leaders. Superpower status is sustained by population. When population disappears, that status also wavers. So let's consolidate today's analysis. Here's the summary. First, the demographic transition. 35 years of the one-child policy altered birth patterns, and the current fertility rate of around 1.0 is far below the replacement level of 2.1. In 2023, 2.08 million people were lost, marking the second consecutive year of population decline. UN projections show a decrease of over 100 million by 2050, with some forecasts suggesting the population could halve by the end of the century. This isn't a future scenario, it's a reality that's already underway. Second, the collapse of economic and social systems. The working-age population peaked in the early 2010s and has since entered a decline phase. This will suppress growth rates over the long term. The ratio of working-age population to the elderly will deteriorate significantly, and the pension system faces a severe crisis. The government's 2024 decision to extend the retirement age is merely a temporary stopgap. Third, structural changes in the global economy. Supply chain restructuring on the scale of trillions of dollars is underway, moving away from China, which holds one of the largest shares of global manufacturing. Manufacturing is shifting to Vietnam, India, and Mexico, transforming the structure of the global economy. And population decline constrains economic power constrains military power, and China's status as a superpower is structurally wavering. If you're forecasting the world in 2050, can you afford to ignore these demographics? Population determines everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for joining me on this analysis. The world moves not on emotion, but on data. On this channel, we analyze those numbers and structures. Subscribe and join me next time as we explore the truth about the world. Turn on notifications, and the complex world will become visible as a comprehensible structure. I'll see you in the next deep dive.